Was it all the fun?
It really was, yeah. I mean, we had no money, but at that time we didn't really need it. I remember things like we'd bum rush, B&Bs in Bournemouth. There you go, B&Bs in Bournemouth. There's a song there somewhere. One of us would get a key, and when the poor fellow turned round, 18 of us would storm up the stairs.
Part of the crack.
To squash in one room together. The grumpy old man syndrome. I think it was a great time for pop music in general, You'd watch some of the Pops, the Adam and the Ants, the Pretenders, so many different genres of music and style.
Yeah.
It was a very exciting time.
Virgin Radio.
Please welcome, from our house to your ears, it must be Suggs!
Thank you.
Good morrow, kind sir.
Lovely. This is it now. I'm starting to feel it. The sap's rising. I'm back in the world of show business.
You brought some notes,
I've been
mate.
in hibernation for 6 months.
Give us your notes. Come on, what have you written down there?
Well, pretty much all that was said in that advert that precursed this show.
I love it.
A completely stupid waste of time.
So
but
Suggs has brought
Carfest
his
is on there.
homework in. Thank you very much. He's shown us his work in. You've got to sign this. We've got to give this away.
Okay.
This is mega. Come on, just take us through what you've written down there. Saves me the bother.
Right, the Hit Parade December tour, 13 dates starting, 14th Sheffield. We've got a squeeze. How's a fun weekend? I've got to mention that. We're doing Butlins in Minehead on the 28th of November. Line up to be announced. Popular demand. Summer shows, Eden Sessions, Victorious, but of course the most important one, the Carfest, 24th of August.
Thank you.
And we're going to the USA in May. Take cover. We've got an album of cover versions that we did. As you'll probably remember, It Must Be Love, One Step Beyond were, in fact, cover versions. And we're working on the greatest new hits.
All right, thanks very much. Thanks for coming in.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Let's hear it for Suggs. Come on. Suggs, if only it was that simple. Oh, it's great to see you,
funny
man.
enough, that's sort of, that's the opposite. I remember one time I was on with you and I was trying to, promote stuff.
Yeah.
And you just played my records back to back, so I couldn't actually get a word in edgeways.
Yeah,
so
sorry about
there
that.
we go, I've caught up after all these years.
I was too excited. You know what I'm like.
I do.
It's great, man. It's all great. Thanks for playing Carfest, and thanks to the guys at Victorious, because we doubled down on that one, which means that we could make it all happen. Which is
Lovely.
great. It's great, isn't it?
It's cool.
When festivals get together to make things happen.
We rub along. We don't need to fight. We're just done.
And talking of live music, 'cause it's a very live year for you this year. You are alive still, which is great. That's a good starting point.
Alive and live.
Alive
a great
and live.
combination.
That's great. What are some of the most memorable, biggest gigs you've done, craziest gigs you've done in the early days? Just give us a flavour of some of the greatest hits of your live.
Well, there's so many, obviously, Chris. But yeah, I mean, the first gigs we did were just in pubs in Camden Town, and I remember the first one we got was at a pub called the Dublin Castle, and it was mostly country and western. It was an Irish pub, and so we lied. We said that we'd got one more chance.
No, you didn't.
Saying we were a country and western band, and Woody, our drummer, helpfully chipped in at the back, and a bit of jazz. Anyway, when Seven Herbert started leaping about playing Jamaican ska,
wow,
the Irish regulars were somewhat bemused.
But that then became a very famous music venue for record companies, didn't it? Dublin Castle.
Well, what was great in those days was, we've talked about this before, how many gigs there were around, and a lot of them were old Irish pubs because they had function rooms for weddings, funerals, and whatever. And so if they didn't have anything on, you could get a gig probably in about 10 or 12 pubs around there at the time. I should say, after that, it was the two-tone tour with the Specials and Selector and all that.
Yeah, tell us about those, because that was like your sort of version of Richie Valens and the Big Bopper and Buddy Holly, because you went out together, didn't you?
Yeah, so it was us, Special, Selector, and I think Dexys came on at some point, on just one old school bus, all arms, legs and trombones sticking out of all the windows. And for most of us, first time we'd really been out of London, and pre-mobile phones, we were just, as we took off from the Roundhouse, the gigs were just getting madder and madder. I remember the tour manager had to jump off at service stations to try and book bigger venues because it was a phenomenon happening before our eyes.
What year was that?
So that was 1979. And you could just see kids all turning up in Harringtons with lots of badges and the haircuts and the trilby hats, and it was becoming something before our very eyes. And the energy of the concerts, and I think there's a film called Dance Craze which shows it pretty clearly, a documentary. You can see the balconies almost about to collapse. I remember floors going through in these old, what would have been old ballrooms up and down the country.
With the suspended floors.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Not suspended enough at times.
Exactly.
The Ritz in Manchester was a great venue for that, wasn't it? It was like a massive trampoline.
And as if the kids needed any more, sort of reason to bounce.
Yeah, any more spring in their step. And of course, we were all kids at the time, weren't we? It was amazing. Not just 3, 4, 5 bands sometimes on tour on that bus together. I mean, all the madness, forgive the pun,
Yes.
all the mayhem. And Dex is coming in and out. Kevin Rowland's written a book. He's coming on the show in a couple of weeks to talk about it. Can't wait. Just give us some more flavour of that combination. Did you fight for headliners or did you all take turns? How did it work?
No, we swapped. We took turns, and it was just all going crazy because we were having a hit, and then Selector had a hit with On My Radio or something, and then Specials would have another hit, and then so it was just becoming absolutely out of control.
Rivalry or just camaraderie?
Not really, no. I mean, professional rivalry, I think you call it. You'd really want to hear what their new single was to get a feel of where they were going, and wherever you were, stood in the firmament. But I remember it's sort of like you had the older geezers at the sort of back of the bus, like Rico played trombone with the Specials, and some of them. Then this sort of middle-aged ones in the middle. Well, you could call people who were in their 20s middle-aged. Yeah. But we were like, 17, 18, and we were up the front, sort of causing mayhem and running up and down the aisle of the bus. But mostly, just having a great time. I mean, really hard to remember very clearly because it was such a blur and you're so young.
Were the gigs something that happened in between everything else almost? Do you know what I mean? Was it one of those kind of tours?
Was it in spite of rather than because of? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I could probably remember more about what went on the bus, than what happened at the venues.
And they just sort of, you sort of... you took these sort of stop-offs to play these gigs almost as a rest from what else was going. Was it brilliant? Was it all the fun?
It really was, yeah. I mean, we had no money, but at that time we didn't really need it. I remember things like we'd bum rush, B&Bs in Bournemouth or there you go, B&Bs in Bournemouth. There's a song there somewhere. One of us would get a key, and when the poor fellow turned round, 18 of us would storm up the stairs.
Part of the crack.
To squash in one room together.
It's funny because the bands you mentioned there, Selector, Specials, Dexys, yourself, all almost in the, probably in the same lane as a genre is concerned, but your sound is completely different within that actual category.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there were certain threads. I mean, dancing was something we were all into, you know what I mean? And that was a sort of, punk had been sort of jumping up and down. It all sort of became a bit more groovy. And I think that related to all of us, including...
A bit more arms going on, wasn't there?
A bit more arms going on.
Armography.
A bit more swinging of the hips.
Yeah.
But no, of course, very distinct. I mean, I think, the grumpy old man syndrome, I think it was a great time for pop music in general, You'd watch sort of the Popsy, Adam and the Ants, the Pretenders, so many different genres of music and style.
Yeah.
It was a very exciting time.
It was really, really exciting. And it was British, but it was international at the same time. In the 90s, it was British and it did export well, Britpop, but this was different. This was an international sound within the UK. It was great. First big gig you did? Do you remember that? First tipping point?
I suppose we'd, been building. Then we split it up a bit in the 80s. Then we did this comeback gig called Madstock. Carfest, Madstock, pretty interchangeable.
No, I remember Madstock. It was a big thing. I can't believe you didn't carry on with it, to be honest.
Well, it was strange because we hadn't really announced that we were splitting up in 1984, but we had 6 years off. And thought it'd be nice just to do a one-off thank you farewell concert. And in fact, there was a guy called Vince Power, God rest his soul, used to do a big Irish festival called The Flower, and he said, look, I've got all the fences and the stage, and if you just want to turn up, give it a go. And we sold 35,000 tickets, and then we sold another 35,000 on the Sunday. There was very famously an earthquake, which people didn't believe until a seismologist said that it did in fact happen. A lot of Madness fans jumping up and down, and it didn't even have a sprung dance floor. And that was a pretty massive gig, and it was a bit like, wow. Then we had the greatest hits, which went to number one. Do you think we should? I mean, there's very obvious signs that people still like what we do. And that was the beginning then of a sort of even more popular part of our career than when we started.
Because Ozzy Osbourne, Ozfest was the biggest festival in the world for decades.
Was it?
No, actual decade. Ozfest was huge, whether Ozzy was playing or not. And you sort of got the sense, Madstock. How many did you do in the end? How many?
I think we did quite a lot. I think we did 3 or 4. Yeah, I mean, Again, it was what was called curating. Yeah, so we created our own. We had Jury, the Pretenders, all sorts of bands that we liked, Squeeze. So it's a great way to spend a weekend for sure.
And the House of Fun weekend at Butlins, it has echoes of that, doesn't it?
That's a very good segue. Good one.
Is it-
I've just thought of something there. There must be something. Get this in.
Look, I've been on since 6:30, mate. I'm up to speed.
No, that's very true. That sort of took over from Madstock because it's a very similar thing. It's a lot of our fans, about 6, 7, 8,000 people, and we create the whole weekend. So we have something different on Friday night, which will be announced shortly. We do a big spectacular on Saturday, and then a lot of different things going on Sunday.
I've
It's
never
a
been
lovely
to
thing.
a weekend at Butlins, but
Yeah.
I've seen the list of them, and there's all horses for all courses, aren't
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
But yours has got to be right up there.
Well, and also, a lot of my friends, everyone no one ever says no. They all say, "Oh, great, Butlins
Yeah,
for
why
the
not?
weekend."
Why
it's
not?
great
You
laugh.
only live once.
You've got your chalet.
And we're all over ourselves now, aren't we? And it's like, yeah, let's get back to Butlins and have a right laugh.
Exactly.
The band's House of Fun weekend at Butlins Minehead takes place from Friday the 28th of November to Monday the 1st of December. Tickets on sale now. And that will get you match fit for these massive gigs in December.
It's always been part of that process. Yeah, exactly. Starting to speed up at that point, hopefully.
All right, so Thursday, 4th of December in Sheffield until Saturday, the 20th of December at London's O2. What a way to welcome in Christmas 2025. It'll be here before you know it. Sheffield, Manchester, Glasgow, Aberdeen, Newcastle, Liverpool, Leeds, Nottingham, Brighton, Bournemouth, Cardiff, Birmingham, London. Couple of days off in there, but a lot of consecutive dates.
This is it, Chris. Well, I saw you in your jogging shorts this morning. I'm going to have to get mine out of the cupboard sharpish.
I've got some spares with me if you want. I've got sparesies.
I've got to say, I came in the studio to find a semi-naked demigod of popular radio on
Yeah.
his knees in front of me. It was a very scary sight, man.
Well, I was demigodding in front
Don't
of
tell me you
the
just
god
tripped
of
over.
Two-Tone.
What was it like, one of those farces? You just tripped over just as I happened
Yeah,
to walk through
oh,
the door
oh,
and the trousers flew
Vicar.
off.
Oh, I do apologise. Now, you are playing the USA, 4 shows in May. Tell us about Madness and America.
Well, it's a bit difficult to keep saying to them, you are 40 years too late. You do realise,
Right.
it's very nice of you to invite us over, but we're really probably not going to make a huge career out of this. But it's nice to go. We're just going up the West Coast. We've got a lot of friends up that side of California. And, hopefully some sunshine and all the other stuff that the Beach
So
Boys
loads of Brits over there,
whenever.
of course, Santa
Yeah.
Monica, etc.
Yeah.
Who comes out to see you? What are the venues like? What's the vibe like? How does it differ to here?
That's a very good question. I mean, funny enough, we've got all the No Doubts, and I can't remember the other funny old bands who've been around since the 80s. Sort of scar inverted commas, but it's all very flattering to have these young inverted commas people.
Are they theatres, arenas? What are they? Open air
A bit
venues?
of both, yeah. So we're doing some big arenas, some big outdoor things. We're doing a rather mad thing in a car park in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Which is always very interesting. Just being in Vegas is interesting.
And you still love it?
Oh, yeah, it's great. Yeah. I'm
Is it-
really looking forward to it. It's
Good
strange.
for you, mate.
Silly old sausage. Come on, Grandad, bag it up.
Silly old sausage. Listen to this. Also on the menu for Record Store Day, 12th of April in the UK, Madness are set to release a compilation of their covers from over 3 years on translucent red vinyl, sir.
It's what the kids want. Have you not heard about it?
It's what we
'Cause
want.
The kids
I
love
love it, man.
They're going mad for it. Yeah, that's quite nice. Yeah, we just thought because it's celebrating vinyl records, I'm sure you know about the whole thing, and all the little stores get a little boost. So we just thought about what we hadn't done before. All the cover versions, the obvious ones being It Must Be Love, One Step Beyond, which are all... But then we found things like we did Money, Money, Money by ABBA.
Brilliant.
Oh, God knows what charity show that was, and should have stayed there.
Yeah.
But it was rather hilarious digging out all these very obscure covers.
And what about you and vinyl? What about you? And do you have a turntable?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I've moved quite recently, so I've just got it all out of storage. Very exciting. I had these lovely tannoy speakers that the kids kept blowing up. They were like 250 quid each to get fixed. But the guy kept saying they're not made to be playing drum and bass or whatever it is we listen to these days.
Yeah.
They were made for sort of gentle, slow, revolving bass lines, not ones that just go
Boom, 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 boom.
from the minute you put it on.
Turn up to 11.
Up to 11.
What would you go to? What's your go-to vinyl?
I suppose I like reggae still very much. I find it's just something that reminds me of a part of my life that was probably a lot of fun. Not that it still
I
isn't.
love the fact you say probably a lot of.
But I suppose it's also, some stuff you just heard too much, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of my favourite songs. So just to find something a bit more obscure, often old dance or old reggae, I like.
It's great, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
great. I put some Johnny Cash on at the weekend. I was listening to Rick Rubin,
Yeah.
and I put American. I think it's American Grace's Fourth or something, which is a Rick Rubin produced. Of course, Rick Rubin refers to himself as a reducer, not a producer, because he says less and less and less, do less, do less, do less.
Yeah, yeah.
And Johnny Cash thought it was all over for him, and Rick Rubin said, "Don't be silly, you're Johnny Cash." And he records this record with Johnny, and Johnny is diagnosed with an end-of-life illness, and he does 3 more albums with Rick Rubin, and American Fourth wins a Grammy.
Yeah.
And I was listening to all that the weekend, and I was just like, I have to be careful because it overwhelms me, music.
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
used to drink so much.
Yeah.
I think it was because I couldn't cope with how happy I was at certain gigs.
You used to drink too much.
Yeah, so you had to tamp it down.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly. I
mean?
know exactly what you mean.
And when you're younger and you're on a great night out, you know, your one diagonal is coming from this axis of your life, which is the excitement of the night and the music, and then you start having a drink, and then another diagonal comes to meet it, and they converge head on, and they explode into this wonderful night of amazing everythingness.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
of course, you try and keep that going, and it doesn't work after a while.
No. There's a certain point where
Yeah.
that wears off. Yeah.
But the music,
is
still
there.
does it to me more than ever.
Yeah.
But do you know, just talking about it getting chills.
Exactly.
Do you recognise what I'm saying?
Totally.
It's great, isn't it?
I find one of those records you haven't heard for a while and just think, oh no, I've got to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to hear the whole thing, and then you...
And all those memories come flooding back, of course.
Yeah, I
and the
just-
endorphins or whatever
Yeah.
they are.
No, totally.
Without the, half a bottle of scotch.
I had to take Johnny Cash off yesterday because I had to carry on with the rest of my day, and he was taking me to a place that I knew I wouldn't be able to get him out
You've got
from.
to do something.
In a good way. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? I
You've
have to
got
look
to do
after
some
the kids
work
thing.
and stuff.
I
Yeah.
have to listen to something I like less than this.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Oh.
And I find it very difficult. It's not ever really background music. If it's
No.
on, I'm distracted. I have to have it on or off.
Yeah, I'd rather have no music on, you know. It's great, isn't it?
Of course it is, especially
cool.
after all these years. And all that vinyl, when I look at it, there's quite a lot of it. There's a lot of good stuff to be getting through there, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll keep me going for a while.
Yeah. If the shelves aren't bending, what is the? Because you sit in the gym, don't they? If the bar's
Yeah,
not bending,
If it ain't bending, it's pretending.
yeah. And if your vinyl shelves ain't bending,
Then you're pretending.
you're pretending, man. Another song there.
I tell you what, they are heavy. I've been carrying a lot of boxes up and down from the attic. Yeah.
I'm going to run through this stuff again, then we're going to have a bit of fun. More fun. Madness Hits Parade, UK Arena Tour begins Thursday, 4th of December in Sheffield. It tours the UK. It's like 18 blistering nights.
Exactly.
And it will get you to the London's O2 on the 20th of December. Tickets on sale for that this Friday, 9:30 a.m. via madness.co.uk. And then you can go to Butlins for the Fun Weekender, and that's on the 20th of November, warming up for that. Tickets on sale now. You can come and see Madness at Carfest because they're headlining Carfest on the Sunday, carfest.org over the bank holiday weekend. Also at the Victorious Festival. Give those guys a shout out. Why the heck not? Now, we have put together a top 10 news. We haven't done this for ages, have we, Vassos?
No, this is good.
All right.
This is.
I heard it coming in. I have no idea what it is you're
All right.
about to
So it's like
lay on me.
It's
Go
like
on.
claims to fame,
Yeah.
to do with you.
Oh, right.
But the more tenuous, the better. All right,
Oh,
Vassos, it's over to you,
Oh,
my
yeah,
friend.
mate.
So at 10,
Yeah.
we have Al the Verger, who said, "My best mate at school was taught to drive by the same instructor that Suggs had."
All right.
Whoa, now, come on. Talk about...
number
remember
9.
his name then, if you would. I did fail 3 times, so probably best I don't mention him.
At number 9, Jason in Winchester, my brother-in-law's brother John, once bumped into Suggs in a restaurant in Whitstable.
Yeah.
He knew I loved Suggs and kindly got his autograph.
Oh, that's nice. He didn't interrupt my oysters. I'm very grateful.
And Mark from Redgrave, I was the DJ on stage of School of Fields with a big band lineup including Human League and Suggs.
Excellent. That, again, passed me by. I mean, a bit like the driving instructor, I'm afraid.
Number 7 is Howard in Southampton. I met Suggs backstage when Madness played Broadlands a few years ago. He has a heart of gold and invited me to watch Madness side of stage.
Yeah.
Must call me on a good day there.
Yeah,
I must
very
have been,
good day.
Must have been very early on in the tour, that one, yeah.
Sally at number 6. I came across Suggs in Aberdeen Airport a few years ago. 2 of us had our flight cancelled. We were moved onto Suggs' flight, and the lady I was with, a radiographer at Winchester Hospital, got to sit next to Suggs and had a fabulous flight.
Well, I just want to say that sounded a bit like I had my own aeroplane, which I most assuredly do not.
Well, you should
Thank
have done.
I should have done, I know.
Our own Frank the Intern at number 5. Madness were the first band I ever saw live. They're still my favourites, and I can't believe I've just asked Suggs not to swear on air.
I thought he looked a bit sheepish.
At number 4, Beth in Nottingham. I once developed some scarves for Suggs as a collaboration with the iconic Tootle brand. I hope he liked them.
Oh, you lovely, yes. They sort of mod things with the paisley. Very nice indeed. Yeah, lovely scarf.
Trevor in Norwich at number 3. A few years ago, I was at the British Museum members room and I heard a guy being interviewed near me and I thought, that's Suggs. He's being really interesting. But I have no idea if it actually was Suggs as I couldn't see him.
At the British Museum?
Members room, British Museum interview.
Maybe.
Andy at number 2, I saw...
They were going to intern me in there. They'd built a little glass box and they were just going to pop me in there. British Museum.
Andy at number 2, I saw Suggs when I was buying Greek yogurt and he was looking at cheese. I asked for an autograph and he couldn't have been nicer.
Yes, come on,
Well, if it was next
say
to the
cheese.
Must have been halloumi then if it was next to the Greek yogurt. Halloumi.
And at number 1, Susan, once in a toy shop in Whitstable, my whippet sniffed Suggs' crotch. I said sorry and he said no problem.
Well, it didn't bite me, let's put it that way.
Beautiful.
Well, yes.
Thank you very much indeed.
Don't think I've ever been so sort of shattered at the enormity of
So
how
underwhelmed.
important my life is.
By the whole thing.
Thank you.
Can we have a massive round of applause, please, from the class behind the glass for Suggs? Suggs, thanks for coming in and thanks for doing Carfest and good luck with everything, mate.
Thanks a lot,
you
mate.
You are a total mensch. Thank you, Vassos, for the top 10 years. Thank you to everybody for joining in.
Virgin Radio.